So if you understand, Esau came out first with the lies and the information and the spread the false gospel. And we as Jacob have to pull him down and bring forth the real gospel, which brings forth unity and progression, which we not a part of. So to understand the parable of Jacob and Esau is just like understanding the parable of Abel and Cain. Abel was accepted by God. Cain wasn't. And when Cain realized that, Cain was going to kill his brother. So Esau has recognized who God has chosen. So they have to destroy him because they are after Jacob. So again, that's the parable of Esau and Jacob. So right now, me as being Jacob, I have to pull Esau down. So a lot of people have taught us to point the finger at the so-called enemy that we call the enemy, which is, y'all know the white people. But the enemy is between the brotherhood, the sisterhood. That's where our enemy lies. And once we fix that, nothing can stop us. And that's why we haven't got our Father's will. Because we ain't done our job, as my brother man said. God waiting on us. We're not waiting on God. Now, there's a lot of confusion about the Bible and what the Bible is. Is the Bible religion? Is it God? Everybody thinks the Bible is the word of God. And writing the word.
My check. Yeah, so a lot of people understand that the Bible as the word of God. We're talking about Esau and Jacob not being able to build the house to get the will because of that struggle between brothers. And then that's what's slowing us down. Not the Caucasian, not the system, for us. Once we come together, there's no power that can do it. So, with that being said, one of the interesting things about that is a lot of the brothers that's coming at you right now and trying to bring up your past to say, you know, this nigga can't be what he say he is because I know him, this and that. A lot of them claim to be Masonic. Now, as you know about me, I'm a master mason. I was raised in a blue house. And as I was explaining to you, one of the things that happened as I was on my journey is I realized that Annie Lee's painting Blue Monday, even though it's a woman that's getting out of bed, she's actually what's called a do-guard. And a do-guard, a lot of the language that we use, you'll hear brothers say, hey, you need to stay on your square. You know what I'm saying? Or you off your square. One of the reasons Blue Monday is so powerful is because she's on her square. A lot of people don't understand that. That's called a do-guard. She's on her square. And when you become a master mason, they say that you're in a blue house. It's called Blue Monday for a reason. When Annie passed away, and we went to go clean her house, and I was going through her library, she had a whole library, a whole Masonic library, right? But in my journey through masonry, I got a vast library, which now has kind of been debunked a little bit due to some of our conversation. But what a lot of people don't know is all of masonry is based on John the Baptist. It's every Mason's desire to come from the Holy Lodge of St. John, right? So that's what kind of led to the understanding of the distant relatives, because a lot of people don't know Mary and Elizabeth were sisters. And that was Jesus and John the Baptist's mothers, right? So it would be ironic that you would be a Johnson and that my mother's a Johnson. And Annie Lee, another thing with Masons, one of the creeds is to look after the widow. Annie Lee became a widow when she was a Johnson. So these are things that I didn't intentionally try to piece together. It's just, I understand your journey. I brought a picture of my brother. Put out this picture of me and my brother Shannon. My brother Shannon, I haven't seen him in probably about 12 years now. And one of the things we have to understand is in our community, there's a lot of mental illness. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't been able to connect with my brothers, because he was having some issues with mental illness. But before he got to that point of dealing with that, when he was a shorty, him being my little brother, he was a Leo. So he had that lion heart. You know what I'm saying? I always used to have to take up for him, and he made me a fighter because he always started shit. So, you know what I'm saying? I had to protect my little brother, right? And even though you're the firstborn for the dead, a lot of times I'll be saying you remind me of my little brother because you are younger than me. But at the same time, it's that lion heart. And I know my preparation up to this point was because I gotta be willing to protect my brother, right? So I'm saying this for all of the Masons that I've been hearing saying they're gonna go into their libraries to try to expose Joshua and Judah. I'm letting y'all know you can't do that. See this light on my hand? I dare you to try to cover it up. I challenge you to try to cover it up. Any Masons. Damn that sound father Masons at that point. Not even, you know, and that challenge is out there for ignorant. And I'm saying this to say that we know in Masonry, it's about building yourself up to be the right type of person, a righteous man. Any righteous person that see their brother and can't see a king, it's a problem with that. So, since they want to use your past against you, you know, not understanding that the parable was that you was raised from among us, let's get into it. So, have you ever been arrested? Yeah. So, before you, Jax, my man, come on, man. You gotta show me some love, man. This is my family right here. You pick up that? Yes, sir. All right. Yeah. So, so, what was I saying? Have you been arrested? Now, again, this is irrelevant to, I can do this now. This is irrelevant because everybody got a past.
Yeah.
Everybody has been through something.
Yeah.
As I just stated, that mental illness is very real in our community. But we're not understanding it's because of the diet. We're not understanding it's because of the things that's put in place to tear us apart. Like a vaccination. How many people didn't have Thanksgiving with their families because half the family was getting vaccinated and half the other family wasn't getting vaccinated? Now you can't even bring up the conversation, nobody even want to talk about it, right? But what we forget is, when COVID hit, the whole world shut down. From Africa to China, the whole world shut down when COVID hit. So that just goes to show you how quickly things can change. Before you start thinking that what we got going on can't happen, is to show you that a lot of people, and even in church, everybody want to sin during the week, sit in church on Sunday, and act religious, and put everything on Jesus. I could be a fool because I'm covered in the blood of Jesus. I ain't got to treat my family right. I ain't got to eat right. I ain't got to support black movements. I don't have to go support the petition for the melanated political party because I got Jesus. Jesus gonna save me. And what I notice is people want to do that with y'all juju. People don't want to. They don't want to be themselves and play their role. They just want to put Yaju on their name and act like that's to say all to be all. That ain't it, right? So going into, again, being a brother from among us. A lot of people nowadays are saying Christ is black. What does that mean? Does that mean that the story that they told us, the Roman Catholics that they gave us, of who was it Borges? Who did they paint to make the picture of Jesus? Some artist's uncle, they painted a picture, said it was Jesus, and our grandmothers had it on their walls next to Martin Luther King, all the while we was growing up. And it got implanted in our minds, just like the TV shows that they created to show us biblical stories to make us believe that that's how it was supposed to happen. But a big part of what we understand right now is we in the last days. COVID was an indication that we was in the last days. The wars, America, a lot of people right now don't even know America is in 3 wars. We're in a war right now against Palestine. You cannot be a Democrat and vote for Biden and then say free Palestine. It's double talk. But they don't tell us this because they don't have to. We don't ask questions, we're not interested. Right? What did Biggie say? We like the party and bullshit. Excuse my language for the young people. Right? So comes to political matters, when it comes to real issues, a lot of times it go over our heads, right? When it comes to biblical things, we so invested in grandma that we say if the bad food was good enough for grandma, it's good enough for me. But we realize that right now we gotta treat our bodies better. You know, grandma didn't have to die in pain. She could have died of old age. Grandma didn't have to get cancer from the food, from all the fried chicken, from all of the pork, from all of these different things. So, going on a bit of a tangent because I'm tired. I know it's what I don't know what else might get. But I'm saying I'm hitting all of these points because for one, I'm not a preacher. I'm not a religious person. I fell in love with the movement because of the melanated political party, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. If you vote, if you believe your people died for you to have the right to vote, you need to exercise that right. But I doubt that they died for you to vote for Trump or Biden. They died for us to vote for what's going to work for us. So you can go to the polls and vote for those people. But in this particular installation, we should say go to the website and vote for something that's directly related to the melanated political party. And the reality of it is, this today is a testament to the fact that it's happening. No drama, beautiful black people, positivity, art, commerce, merchants, it's all there, right? But where's our leaders? Well, if you look at the establishment that we under, when they came with what was called the doctrine of discovery, when the white man went around the world discovering lands that black people already lived on, what gave them the right to do that was a declaration from the Pope. So they felt like they had God's approval to go and kill our people and take the lands and divide us and to spread the Bible and the doctrine. It was a divide and conquer that they got an edict from the Pope. So even if you don't go to the Catholic Church, your preacher had to go to a college to get a degree, a theology degree, that came from under that same indoctrination. Same people. So what we're talking about right now is, hey, y'all gotta watch out so they can get by. Who the baby? Uh-oh, we got the bike show going on. They must heard the melanated political party is in the house. They showing up, y'all. There's gonna be a lot more of that happening. Indeed.
I know that I'd rather.
No doubt. So, we already know that we manifest reality. We already know that when we come together, can't nothing stop us. We already know that we come from a royal bloodline, a royal lineage. We already know that we can do wonderful things on this planet. If you ever read Genesis, you know God created heaven and earth at the exact same time. Distant relatives. We can create the reality that we want as long as we put the power in our hands. Right now. So, I'm saying that to say, this interview is probably the biggest thing that I've ever done in my life. I'm going to say less and give you the mic because I know you wanted to speak tomorrow, but it's going to turn less of a conversation, more of a monologue, so I'm going to hand over the mic. But I just want to say,
the Juneteenth.
Necessary for me to say,
We got the Juneteenth.
Oh, that's because I held up the Masonic? Is that what it's about? Let's go. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Praise the Most High.
Chicks in the club.
Got the power of the Most High. Hey, y'all, I'm gonna go on the phone. So y'all can see.
Bless everybody. Yeah, y'all get to the show. God know his money. We got crazy.
No doubt. So, as I was saying, my brother, I'm gonna hand over the mic. Or actually, let me see if they got the other mic. One mic, okay. All we got is one mic. We're already speaking it into fruition, brother.
All right, peace, y'all. Again, y'all, I want to thank my brother, man, for inviting me to this special event. Again, a great pioneer for artwork. That started a lot of, again, I learned some of these things yesterday about the pioneer of our work, the late, great Annie Lee. And like I say, I was very impressed. You know, but to talk about, you know, when I grabbed the mic for y'all, my brother, man, really gave y'all, like I say, a lot of food for thought. Because right now, the political side of the Bible is what nobody is really touching on. You know, and when you deal with the political side, that's when we can make change. You can't make change without politics. You know, politics, people avoid change.
How you doing?
Like my brother man said, I can go in church and put it all on Jesus. So I ain't gotta change. You know, so it's the reality. What's up?
I already knew you was looking in there. So glad you didn't know.
So like I say, y'all, the political side of a lot of things, man, is
I'm glad everybody was able to come on. Yes.
so yeah, y'all, like I was saying, man.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. This is what we need to be doing. Stop hating.
Right.
And it just, you know, that's what we never talked about. You know, we haven't picked the Bible in our hand and talked about the political side of it. That brings forth change. Without a government, there's no change. So when you see the petition, you see the declaration, and then you see the Bible, people not used to those kind of moves. People not putting that puzzle together. And that's why I say when it comes to the religion, it's a standstill. You know, so we're not here to argue and fuss or fight about the religion, but in order to build something new, sometimes you have to destroy the old. So we have to destroy the old mind frame that religion that put us in. And throwing our problems on somebody else, but dealing with our problems behind the closed door. See, we run to church on Sunday, or we run to the mosque, or we go to any organization, and we put our problems on them. And for instance, I say this because I was at something in Atlanta where some brothers got together. And they was talking about all this mental health and all these things, but they never mentioned government at all. You see what I'm saying? So you can't separate those things. The government has a lot of influence on mental health. So a lot of times we try to put band-aids on stuff that needs surgery. And you can't put a band-aid on an open wound that needs surgery. You know, and for my biblical people, it's a parable as there's no healing medicine in Egypt. And this is what we at, y'all. We in idol worship, we in bondage, we in confusion, and we in darkness. That's the Egypt that we are in. You know. So right now, this is the healing of the nation. This is the information that heals the nations. This is the information that unifies us. And again, for to start our political party, so we can support our people. All the time. What has anybody done who ever taught the Bible? Nothing. So we deal with the Bible. The Bible is God's will and not a word. It's what God will do. And when it comes to the word, y'all, the word will be made flesh, a spoken word. And it's really just that simple. God's word is spoken and it's not written. So we pick up this Bible and we read it and we get into teaching people without doing the will, we becoming an enemy of God. And that's the temptation that's in the earth. What I say, I got the voice, it's kind of hard for me to freestyle. Because like I said, I can go on and on about a lot of stuff, y'all. And again, this is not an information war rather than an enlightenment. You know, information has put us in darkness. The enlightenment brings us out of darkness. That's why you get the Israelites and all of these things. So again, it's just light. And light is greater than information. And if you miss me, I can tell you 2 words and give you light. I can give you a book and you'll never receive light with 1,000,000 words. So when I say information and light are 2 different things, we have to understand that.
A lot of people that grow up in a religious household, they don't really have the greatest relationships with their parents because they'll go to them when they're having everyday problems and ask for advice. But instead of giving them a word of encouragement, they'll go to the Bible and give them scripture. You know, I'm having trouble with this. You know, Mom, you know, what should I do? Well, the Bible say woo woo, and you walk away unsatisfied. She's like, damn, I just wanted you to tell me what you thought. I just wanted you to give me your perspective, your experience, exactly. You know what I mean? And so that's exactly what I think about that. So another parallel that we had, you know, I just lost my son Murray last year. Actually, that painting over there was dedicated to him. The one right there, yeah, right next to the Lord's Supper. But it was an irony that you also have a daughter named Amari, right? So again, you know, you got these brothers that's rocking this light, that's coming on platforms where they see how you at and trying to so-called expose you for being human, which you never denied that she was human. So just in the event that she's watching, we have another parallel. I told you my son's name was Amari, and you said, what's his name? I said his name Amari. And you said, how you spell it? And as it turns out, that's your daughter's name. Yeah, so tell us something about Cordell Johnson and his relationship with his daughter.
I think like any father was, it's very heavy because, like I said, it was a separation between me and my daughter. And in the beginning, I was a lone father. You know, having as my firstborn as a daughter, we became very close. But as I was called by God, it was prepared her too, but she was so young at the time, a lot of information I know went over her head. And dealing with the battle of, just the vegan diet, you know, that separated family members, let alone I'm trying to separate my daughter into a vegan diet. And, you know, so that just brought a lot of distance, you know, and having people around me spreading rumors, having strangers in my house, that really distanced me and my daughter for what the relationship we have now. You know, but right now, like I said, we still have a relationship. I'm still in contact with her. As far as her truly understanding what I'm going on, because I haven't had a lot of private time with her in these last probably about 3 years, somewhere around that time, to really settle down and give her, you know, a lot of facts. You know, so I'm pretty sure she's still blind to a lot of things. But other than that, we still have that daddy relationship. You know, it's not close to by like it was, again, because of people and also the walk that I walk. So that's basically the relationship I have right now. I know it's a lot of speculations, a lot of stuff that's on my name, and people don't understand the sacrifice, and that's why I am separated from a lot of people because of the sacrifice that I had to do. And I think that's the part of the story that a lot of my brothers, especially those who come from the house, you know, don't see. But the scriptures let us know to eat from the sacrificial lamb. So it's things I have to sacrifice, my personal time, really everything, and put all my focus on what I'm proclaiming and what I'm doing. And again, for you to do those things, this is why we have to eat from the sacrificial lamb, because that's the only way God was to somebody that gave a half sacrifice. the sacrifice had to come with you putting all in. You know, so right now, yeah, my father-daughter relationship has been sacrificed for this journey. You know, but that's the relationship I have right now. So I can't see the comments, y'all, so I can't answer really no questions.
What did they get?
But yeah, y'all, again, this is the political movement. Again, because the Bible is in our hand, we are not trying to preach to you. We're actually not trying to give you the word. We're actually manifesting the word. And that's why we always ask for eyes and ears. Because when something is manifest, you can see it. We're not here to convince you. You know, when the light is turned on, you can see the light. You know, so you don't have to convince nobody that the light is on. We just got to be focused on being the light. And right now, the work is being the light. Because it's easy to blend in. And that's what they are teaching us right now, to blend in and not stand out. So it was our job to carry that load so we can stand out in the midst of these dark times, to bring that light again so we ain't tripping over our furniture.
So, I heard you know, you play basketball. Pretty good? Yeah, pretty good at basketball? You got some skills? You do regular stuff? You know, I played you in spades, you know, you're playing in spades. Y'all was decent. I'm coming back for that. One. You know. And I just bring that up to say that, you know, a lot of the conversation that we hear is about Yaju being a mere man. And the reason that a lot of people can't accept that is because we've been conditioned to expect something miraculous when it comes to biblical prophecy. You're supposed to be able to walk on water or just float in the sky. You definitely shouldn't, you know, have a baby or a girlfriend or wife. You shouldn't be playing basketball. You definitely shouldn't be having a petition. And that's another thing that I gotta say to those Masonic brothers that keep on trying to poke fun at Yaju Judah for having a petition. Because he never tried to, and we're gonna get into that too. I wanna put a pin in and remind me. There are aspects of a lot of different organizations that do reflect a degree of, like the Rosters, like the Masons, like the Christians, but you're not aligned with them. So I wanted to tap on that. But getting back to what I was saying about a petition, anybody that's a Mason know, you can't just go join a lodge. You have to do what? Petition the lodge. It's an active part of the process. So for anybody Masonic to poke fun at you for a petition is hypocritical, very hypocritical, because we understand the power of a petition. We understand that a lot of our lives are controlled by what? Paperwork. The reason you gotta pay rent is because you signed a lease. The reason that you gotta pay your car note is because you signed some paperwork. This is the instrument of our oppressor. That's how they took our land, with paperwork. So to make fun of you for having a declaration and a petition is Esau at his finest, right? So we giving some of his background and what he's doing, but we exposing y'all. That's really what this is. It's like a B-Rabbit moment. If you ever seen 8 Mile, you know, when he had that battle against clans with real good parents, he told everything bad about himself while exposing him. So we're exposing y'all this time. And as you know, I'm not a super prolific
Frederick
member or whatever, but you know, this is also to make it clear if there was ever any doubt from anybody of where I stand. I stand with my brother. So going back to what we were saying as far as a lot of the rosters, you know, they smoke the Sesamilia and they praise Haile Selassie as being the Christ. Americans at large don't necessarily, especially in Chicago, don't necessarily know about the throne of David, the Solomonic dynasty, or the fact that the scrolls, the scriptures that made up the Bible, they ended up getting printed. They didn't have printing presses in Africa when they took the Bible, they had scrolls. But those scrolls was put through the printing presses to make the Bible that they used to colonize. right? So the Rastas, they read the Bible, they smoke the sesame, and they praise Haile Selassie. Somebody that don't know you at a distance will look at y'all juju and go, I'm a Rasta.
Thank you. Got it. Thank you. It's killing me.
Oh, you got it. Do you got the hand, Marie?
Oh. So I'm gonna get a shot. I'm gonna get a shot.
Yeah, that's what they were saying too. The square apple is on my other phone. I thought. So you gotta manually write down. You talking about over here over there?
Listening. This is Brandy. You hear me? You're at the Chicago Chi-Town. At the Juneteenth. I'll show you guys the flyer in a minute.
Yep.
We'll find it.
So yeah, we talked about the similarities to the Rasta, but then where the line is drawn, the difference between what they got going on and what you got going on.
Well, one thing about religions, they all gave us something to worship other than the living God. So when you deal with the living God, you're dealing with the spirit in a living vessel. So just like Muslims or just like Christians, they all teach of a vessel that's not here with us. You know, so when I'm bringing this forth, the living God, that's why the scriptures say worship the living God. And to worship the living God, you have to find a vessel that hosts the spirit. Nobody that left us will continue hosting God's spirit. That's why God don't die. So when you deal with the Rastafarians and they're a movement, they worship somebody that's not here. As what all religions is teaching us to do. You know, so they are missing the living God. That's what the separation is.
About you gonna live forever? We worship when you die.
Well, no. That's why the spirit goes in another vessel. It's the living God. God is spirit. I'm a vessel that's hosting the spirit. So I'm the Lord of hosts. I'm not God. So if I leave, we have to find the next vessel that's worthy to host God, to bring forth the supper. And that's why I say you are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. Because the order is set up by God. And that's the order we keep. Man for Christ, man, woman, child. God.
At the end of the day, we all, this is one of those things that's kind of ironic too, is, you know, most people feel like if you pick up the Bible, you got the word of God. And if you study it hard enough, you can go out and teach about God and how he affected your life, right? But everybody got smartphones. You can take any random person's smartphone and each person handles their phone differently. Very few of us have actually read the manual. But having an iPhone don't make you a master of the iPhone. Having a manual don't make you a master of the iPhone. And having both of those things don't make you friends with Steve Jobs. So how is it that you can have an iPhone and ain't no damn way you gonna call Steve Jobs, but you pick up a Bible and you think you got access to the most powerful thing in creation, which is God. So kind of explain what is the difference between your relationship with God and your sacrifices that you made to be the anointed one, and somebody else that says, hey, I got Christ consciousness, I got a relationship with God, why I need to look to God you for anything? What is your response to that?
Well, I think a lot of people even take the Christ story out of context because they think the whole world come to Christ. When you read the scriptures, Christ only speaks to the angels of the churches. So when you're dealing with a priesthood and the order that God has created in a priesthood is to keep us in, how would I say, unity. That's the better said. So when you go through Christ, this is a priesthood that's going through the anointed one that God has set up. So I know a lot of people, you know, because my brother may ask the question, like, what does it mean to go through Christ? And what does that mean for people who pick up the book and think they went through Christ? Again, Christ is here to set up God priesthood. So going through Christ is just to go through God information. As any organization is set up with a head. So we see this in the physical world. We see a head. We see everybody that's a part of that organization going through their head and all under that one loaf of information. But remember, you have what? The deception, you have the lies, or you have the earthly information, or the waters under the firmament, but then you got the waters above the firmament. You know, so what God is setting up right now is coming from the heavenly waters. You know, it's not the tainted waters that's on earth. And this is why the scriptures say you have to go through Christ, because again, this is a priesthood that's being set up that has to have an order. Again, the same order that you see at your job, in all organizations, a head. So Christ is the head of God organization. And that's why Christ is labeled the doorway to go through the house of God that God have created.
That's another thing that I want to address with my brothers that's on the square, is we understand the doorway, and we understand the keystone, and we understand that Christ is that light and that keystone. And I'm gonna keep it real simple with that one. You know, for those that know, you know. And once again, you know, as I see as we reveal in Him as well, just know that. So, what was something else that I wanted to really kind of, we did the Rastafarians. Well, even with the Masons, right? So Christ was a carpenter, or a famous phrase that gets used is, I did just touch on it, the stone that the builder refused. Now, this is something that, you know, even because I told you, I still really don't like reading the Bible that much, even though we done connected. But I go to some of my Bible stuff for reference. And a lot of people confuse that phrase to say, I'm the stone that the builder refused, because they heard it on Boondocks. It's famous now. Everybody want to be the stone that the builder refused. And people in church know that Christ is the chief cornerstone, but they don't understand what that means. And they mix the two parables because those are actually two different things. The chief cornerstone, anybody that does a contract that knows when you build a house, you start the foundation from the northeast corner and you build from there. And you use the tools, levels, squares, and compasses to build from that stone, so that once you're done, that the building is erect. You don't want to lean and tile, you want everything to be even. So you got to start, like you said, you got to start with the one. But what they don't understand is, if every builder is starting from the northeast corner, how that's connected to Ethiopia, being in the northeast, where David's throne is at, right? And so when you talk about that chief cornerstone, most people understand that that's Christ, but now with everybody having so-called Christ consciousness, they don't understand that the reason that the Tower of Babel happened, because you got all of these professed religious masters, they babbling because they tried to build a tower to God. And when they tried to build a tower to God, they wanted to do it by removing Christ, right? So everybody wants to be that chief cornerstone. And so when they say, I'm the stone that the builder refused, they don't understand that the builder is God. So by default, when you say you the stone that the builder refused, you saying that you against God, or that God rejected your offering. Doorway, an arched doorway, it has what's called a keystone. It's what allows the arch to even be able to happen, right? And so they confuse the cornerstone with the keystone, and they don't know that somebody tried to copy off of the master builder's workstation. And when they tried to copy off the master builder's workstation, they took the design of a keystone and tried to apply it to a cornerstone. You can't put a keystone in a cornerstone, because then you don't get that level building that you want. And that's why the builder rejected that stone. It was the wrong stone. The stone itself And that's exactly what's happening with the will right now. And that's why we're exposing y'all, right? Go for an hour. You know, we don't want to shove steaks down a baby's throat. You know we gotta chop this up and give it to it in bits and pieces. But as we get ready, well, actually, we talked about the rosters, we talked about the Masons, and again, for anybody that didn't hear, we're talking about the things that you do that's somewhat relevant to their ideology, but with separation. So, with Christians, we already understand that, you know, Christians, for the most part, worship white Jesus. Now people starting to say that that's a black Jesus, but never even took time. All they doing is replacing the same Jesus into consideration that these could be the biblical times that was spoken of or prophesied, because the Bible is a prophetic teaching. It's not a history story. The colonizer took something prophetic from the scholars of Africa and turned it into history, so that when Christ showed up today in the last days, we wouldn't understand that we are those prophetic teachings. So we hit the rosters, the Masons, the Christians, Muslims. Okay, Muslims eat similar to you, so they'll say, "Oh, he a vegan, maybe he Muslim." But then when you get into the teachings of the Muslims and the things that they do, we know they circumambulate once a year when they go to Mecca around the stone, right? So maybe you can break down what separates you from the Muslims.
Well, like, people don't understand, Islam means submit to the will of God. It doesn't mean submit to the teachings of man. And again, we don't know what the will is because we follow the teachings of man. So in other words, I tell people like this: to be a Christian, you have to be a Muslim. You can't be a Christian and not do God's will. So when you deal with this Babylonian battle, we're just battling with words that we proclaiming but not actually doing. Because there's a lot of people proclaim to be Muslim, but they are not submitting to the will. They are submitting to the teachings. So what separates me is I'm actually submitted to the will. I'm actually doing the will. And that's what makes me a true Muslim. So I don't even hide from a lot of these words. Like, a lot of people might get this information say. So even when a lot of religious practices, especially people like Muslim, again, they worship something that's not here. They worship something they haven't seen. And this is something that all religions teach. You to believe in something you haven't heard, you haven't seen. The only thing we should believe in that we haven't heard and we haven't seen is God. And that will be manifested so we can know what God is. So right now, y'all, what separates me simply from the Muslims is, again, I am submitting to the will. I don't go to a mosque. I don't have to pray 5 times a day. That's not God's will. You know, so again, that's the separation for me and the Muslims.